Hi, I'm Abby from Ride with Confidence. Thank you so much for being here. I'm a trauma therapist from Melbourne, Australia, specializing in helping equestrians to overcome fear, anxiety, and self doubt. And I know firsthand how it feels to go and spend time with your horse feeling anxious, maybe butterflies in your stomach. I have experienced panic attacks as well. I've been riding since I was 10 years old, mainly dressage, competed as well. And I got my horse Benjo, the one that you see in the picture, back in 2018. I rode him for about a year for his previous owner before I officially got him. And when I moved him to a new adjustment, he showed me a completely different side of him. He showed me how unpredictable he can be. Looking back, that was the point where I felt less confident around him. I'm sure many of you can relate, but my horses are my sanctuary, and for me, it is my safe space. And I remember one day I was settling him up. He was standing still in the tie up area, and I felt butterflies in my stomach. My hands were shaky. I started to run on the spot and to do some jumping jacks to shake the nerves away. That didn't really help much. Then I convinced myself to just ride, just do it. But as soon as I sat in the saddle, my body felt stuck, frozen, heavy. I felt like a beginner again. I was very frustrated because I couldn't understand two things. One, why am I feeling this way after being around horses for 30 years? And two, why am I nervous? My horse is standing still. Nothing is happening around me. I felt that I couldn't share these feelings with anyone as people wouldn't understand and might judge me or laugh at me. So I decided to handle it by myself. I kept pushing myself to ride, to get over it. That didn't help me either. I was progressing very slowly while the voices in my head kept saying that I'm not good enough or what are you afraid of? You know how to ride. Another voice even reassured me by saying, you've given birth to two children. Horse riding can't be more scary than that, right? Well, apparently reasoning does not work. I didn't want to give up riding, but I couldn't see a way out. So I decided to focus on my horse rather than myself to make sure he's okay, because he had some trauma in his life as well. And I wanted to help him more than anything else. So as time passed, I progressed with him mainly on the ground. I learned more about trauma from different podcasts and books. It became my obsession to learn how I can help my horse. So Ben just started to feel much better. However, still felt quite nervous. It all changed when I stumbled upon a trauma-informed therapy that actually worked for me. That made a huge difference in my life. It helped me to feel better, but it also changed the way I work with my horse and how I present myself to my kids, to my husband. I love it so much that I became a trauma therapist. This method had taught me to dive in and find my deeper wounds, understanding why I'm feeling this way. I learned not to judge or to criticize myself anymore. I learned to have compassion for my horse and other horses I work with, to have compassion towards my clients that want to get the same results. My passion is to help other riders because I know there's a way out. So I started my online business and I get to meet so many riders who have been affected by trauma, which affects their time with their horse and even with their families. So today I thought I'll share with you how you can regain your confidence in the saddle without the need to push yourself or force yourself to just get on or to even pretend fear is not there. Because true confidence does not come from ignoring fear, it comes from understanding what's happening in your body, learning how to work with your nervous system, and taking gentle, supported steps that help you feel safe again. So let's start by focusing on what trauma is. The trauma is a subjective experience, which means that if my friend and I both fell off the horse, I could have experienced a traumatic event while she didn't experience that at all. It really depends on our past, our culture, our beliefs. Trauma, it's not about what happened. It's about how we perceived it. We can't control this. It's our body response. A very common mistake about trauma, and I had that same belief as well, is that trauma is a big event like a fall or an accident. But trauma isn't always one big event. Sometimes it's a series of smaller, ongoing experiences that build up over time and shape how safe or unsafe we feel in the world and in our bodies. Those past experiences that haven't been processed or given sense of completion don't just disappear. The energy from them stays present, stuck in our body. For example, if I raise my hand in class and the kids laughed at me, I might decide never to raise my hand again. And later in life, it could show up at work where I feel too nervous to share my ideas in front of my team. Or if my parents weren't supportive or often criticized me while I was growing up, I might carry the belief that I'm not good enough. And that belief might shape the way I show up in relationship, at work, or even with my horse. So trauma isn't just about what happened to us. It can also come from what we needed but didn't get, from the lack of support or the care or the safety from the people who mattered most. So now that we have a clear understanding of what trauma really is, let's look at how it actually affects our body. When we experience trauma, whether it is a small or big event, our body remembers and it stores that event. I want you to imagine that this empty cup is your body or your nervous system when you are born. But as life happens, we start collecting experiences like stress at school, or family expectations, or time we felt we're not good enough, or maybe we fell off the horse, or maybe someone's laughed at us, or maybe we were criticized by our parents, our peers, and our coaches. And soon our cups start to look like this, completely full. There's no space left. So every little thing like your horse spooks, or someone's watching you ride, or even a driver cutting you on the road, can leave you feel overwhelmed or experiencing meltdown, self-doubt, or even panic. Not because this is who you are, because your nervous system is at capacity. There's no more room. So then our body might feel tight, have butterflies in the stomach, shaky hands, feeling sick, even feeling nauseous, either when we prepare for a ride or while riding. Other less obvious signals are lack of motivation to ride or to handle your horse, or even procrastination. These are symptoms that your cup is full and your body is trying to signaling that you have reached the end of your capacity. So when you feel nervous or anxious and you feel that tightness, think about it like your body is trying to communicate that there is no much room to hold more pressure. I remember when I felt those symptoms, I felt confused because I wanted to ride, but my body was so tense and shaky. Maybe you have experienced that as well. You see, when we want to ride and our mind says yes, let's have a ride, while our body says no and feel tense and shaky, we don't know what to do. That's why we feel stuck. Your body remembers past moments of pain, tension, or fear, and it's warning us not to go back there. Even when we think, I know how to ride, I should be fine. But inside, it feels like everything is wrong. And in that confusion, it's easy to spiral, to feel insecure, overthinking every step, playing out the worst case scenario and all the what ifs. When we feel insecure, trying to make sense of all this, we try to grab or control every situation, including controlling the horse. For some riders, that show up as trying to perfect every tiny detail, every aid, every movement, every outcome, in the hope that getting it right will keep them safe. For others, control looks different. It might mean avoiding certain situations altogether, or even avoiding riding, because stepping back feels safer than facing the unknown. Both are survival responses, both are your nervous system way of saying, if I can just control this, maybe I won't get hurt again. I remember I used to be proud that I'm a perfectionist, but really I felt insecure and tried to control every situation. When we feel anxious, we often try to push away the anxiety or the fear, making the mistake of pushing against it or even try to make it stop. Instead, I'd like you to try and be curious. What is behind my fear or my anxiety? Even if you don't know the answer, by being curious, you have already distanced yourself from that feeling and you work with it instead of against it. So what should we do when the what ifs are popping up? Well, the best way is to connect to your body. Let's try the box breathing, which is inhale for 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, and exhale for 4 counts. Or just focus on the exhale, making sure it's longer than the inhale. Then feel your body, wiggle your toes, move your fingers, tell yourself you are touching your horse's mane. Touch the saddle, the reins, the rope. Feel if it's rough, smooth, cold, or hot. Focus on every little detail, even scan your horse very slowly. Look at the colors, the facial expression, the mane, the tail. All of these cues will help you bring yourself to the present moment. The more you are in your body, the more you are present. Because the what if are in the future, and it is impossible to be in the future and in the present at the same time. So practice being in the present moment or in your body as much as possible. So I thought we can practice together to feel our body. And this is an exercise I do with all my clients, just a shorter version of it. We start with scanning or noticing how our body feels this particular moment. And from there, building sense of safety in the body as well. So let's close our eyes and take some deep breath in and slowly exhale through your mouth. And I'd like to invite you to step out of your mind and go into your body and feel how your body feels this particular moment. I'd like you to feel your toes, your ankles, your knees, your thighs. Allow your body to sink into the chair. Allow the breath and slowly exhale. Feel your tummy and your chest expand as you breathe. Feel your fingers, your wrists, your elbows, the shoulders. Allow the chest to expand as you breathe and slow exhale through your mouth. Feel your neck, your chin, your jaw, your mouth, your nose, your eyes, and even the slightest touch of your hair against your skin. Acknowledge how your body feels this particular moment. And just keep on breathing. And I'd like you to think about something or somewhere or even a being that makes you feel good. It can be a real place or from your imagination. It could be a person, an animal, even a spiritual place or person that makes you feel good inside. If it feels good, be curious how your body feels and allow that feeling good sensation to travel through your body. Where do you feel that sensation? The more time you spend feeling this sensation, the more it will be easier for you to access it when you feel you need support in your body. Just allow yourself to be curious, notice your body, pay attention to every slight change, and slowly open your eyes, come back to the room. I hope you feel a little bit better. When we feel anxious, our survival brain is taking over before our logical brain comes online. Our survival brain is designed to protect us, so it often goes to fight, flight, or freeze mode. It's not something we choose, it just happens automatically. That's why trying to convince yourself to ride or pushing yourself into the saddle when you're already anxious or scared often backfires. Instead of building confidence, your body logs that moment as more pressure or more stress. And the next time you even think about riding, your body remembers that pressure. The fear or anxiety shows up even stronger because your nervous system is trying harder to protect you. So the path forward isn't forcing or pushing through. The way to soften fear is to feel through it, to gently explore what's underneath the anxiety and bring safety back into the body so that riding becomes a place of calm and connection again. So we talked about that we need to feel through our fear or anxiety if we want to ride confidently. So how do we do that? Well, I thought to share some of my clients' stories to illustrate how they moved through it. A client approached me because she felt scared and stressed to ride a horse, to the point of almost giving up riding altogether. She has beautiful horses and she loves riding, but because of her stress and anxiety, she couldn't find motivation to ride. So we started by building a sense of safety in the body, similar to what we practiced before, and then gently inquire what is behind her stress. We pinpointed it to lack of confidence and lack of trust in the horse. When we kept going, we realized that behind the lack of trust, there was a sense of feeling unsafe. Going back about 30 years ago when she had a bad marriage and had to escape this controlling environment. The horse brought it up as he came to her with his own trauma, and that sparked her old wounds to surface. Her ex was also a rider and they competed in endurance, but he was never appreciative and criticized her often about her riding. That caused her to connect uncomfortable emotions with riding, which affected her motivation. Also, that feeling of being controlled came out as a strong pain in her lower back and her arm, like someone is still holding her. So we process the emotions, the thoughts about herself. We are still working on it as this is such a major event in her life. But she notices her body now. She's not scared to ride. And if she feels that tension, she is not trying to push it away, but being curious about it. So we can process it together in our session. She doesn't think about riding as a bad experience now, and she sees her horse as it is, a gentle giant that she feels much more comfortable to ride. Another example is one of my clients who fell off her horse last year and felt scared to ride. A friend offered her to help her by riding together, and she was trying to convince herself every time that she's okay. She managed to progress from leading her horse to riding him, just walking at the moment and all the way to her friend's house. But she told me, I'm not confident, and if her friend had cancelled the ride, she felt quite relieved. But on the same time, she wanted to ride. Her horses are literally outside her window. She loves them. She loves being around them, but couldn't overcome her fear. So after building sense of safety in the body, we inquire gently what is behind that fear or lack of confidence. Turned out she had a very, very strict teacher when she was back in primary school. This teacher was so upset on her one day when she couldn't answer a math question. She humiliated her and made her feel useless. So with somatic tools, we processed that event and all the emotions and the thoughts behind it, brought closure to it. When I asked her at the end of the session, how does she feel about riding? Her body was calm. That was only one session. There's probably more to her lack of confidence, but the progress was very noticeable after a first session. And she reported back that she felt much less tense about riding the next day. Another client was trying for 2 years to overcome her anxiety and the what ifs, not only around riding, but in her personal life as well. Every time her daughter had a comp or show, she would be so nervous and wasn't able to enjoy that at all. She wanted to check why she's feeling so insecure and how to stop the what ifs. After feeling more safe in her body, we gently started to inquire about what is underneath her anxiety. What came up very strongly was that she grew up taking care of her younger sister while she was just in primary school. Both her parents were working and all the responsibility was on her shoulders. She couldn't be a kid. She couldn't make a mistake. Everyone was counting on her. That little frightened girl was still inside of her. So we processed the emotions and with somatic techniques, we managed to settle her younger self, the little girl who felt insecure. Only then she had the capacity to start in building her relationship with her horse. What I hope you can see from these stories is that you can have technical skills and knowledge, but if underneath you're still feeling scared, anxious, or insecure, those tools won't work the way you want them to because the body is still in a survival mode. Once we start addressing why the fear is there and help the nervous system feel safe, then the technical steps become so much more effective. Progress starts to feel possible again, and the small wins actually feel worth celebrating. So I'd like you to be curious. Is your fear, anxiety, or self-doubt really coming from your horse, or is it something else? Sometimes we can't pinpoint the cause, and that's completely okay. I didn't know the root cause of my anxiety. But with curiosity and with the right support, we can gently start peeling back the layers and discover what's really underneath the fear. As I mentioned earlier, we can't think our way through fear or anxiety. We have to move through it. When we gently separate the story, the emotions, and the thoughts, and give each one the chance to be processed in its own way, something changes. That process brings closure to the traumatic event, allows the body to feel safe again, and opens the door for confidence to grow. Thank you for listening. I hope this has been helpful. If you'd like to chat privately, you can book a free strategy call with me through my website, writewithconfidence.com.au. Just look for the free strategy call button. It's completely free and it gives us a chance to talk about what you experience, about your challenges and goals, and see if I can help. You're also welcome to join my Facebook group. It's called The Right Tribe, where I share regular posts, tips, and encouragement on building confidence in the saddle. Thank you so much again, and I hope to connect with you soon.